I thought it would be interesting to look at visible light in more detail, so that's our volumetric options. If I enable with just this first option, the visible, you will see it gives us a second fall off range, or similar to how we were adjusting fall off earlier. If I go to the details tab, I had the fall off set to inverse square clamped and the radius at 400 centimeters. And if I change that, you can see we adjust the reach of our light. However, the visibility is actually completely separate to that. So if I hold Alt and R here to enable the interactive render so we can see the changes as I make them live, and the quality is at 50%, just so we get quick results here. As I change this radius, so I could lower this all the way down to 100, you will see the visibility stays the same. But if I go to the visibility tab, this has this outer distance control. We can either lower this, I could go down to 100. If I go the other way, we can make the effect a lot stronger. So that's the outer distance. It controls, how far the light rays will reach. Inner distance controls the beginning of that sort of fall off, right? So it's 0%, that starts right there. And the light rays get weaker all the way down to when you don't see them at all, right? So about here. However, if I put this inner distance to 500, you can see it pushes that point at which the light rays start to fade. We can even do brightness, which is a multiplier based on our light intensity. So if I just lower this, this gets darker naturally, but I can also adjust it and multiply it using this brightness value here. And just like we could apply a gradient to the actual fall off, we can do the same with light rays. Let's lower the brightness to 100%. And there isn't too much blue there, so I could push this further and you see it gets mapped back into the light rays. I'm gonna bring the light down a touch here. It seems it's no longer pointing at the car, so let's fix that. Let's change it to volumetric so it actually interacts with our car, and it's going to interact with the shadows too. I'm gonna put the quality all the way to the top here. And of course, this was using a spotlight. So if I go to the outer angle and let's say what's the maximum allowed here, you see it just remaps all of those settings based on that. And we can also change the type to Omni. And you see now the light rays going out in all directions. You cannot, however, do this with the infinite light or with the area light. So light rays only work when it's either Omni or Spot. Just one other note for this lesson, which is that our light here is actually just this single white color. However, in the render, we can clearly see some blue and pink being reflected from the DeLorean. And that's because these volumetric effects actually get reflected onto materials that way. So it's an interesting way to introduce some highlights and color detail to our reflections.